Okay, so what we have here is a Garrard clock. It's pretty old. There's no mention of Garrard on the back apart from the mechanism at the back of it. This is still not dated yet, but when it goes live on sale, it will be basically properly vetted. But the only mention of Garrard on this is on the back here. So this has got a label called Garrard. It's really well built because of the very fact that on the back of it, every single bolt, every single mechanism, and even the way that this mechanism connects to the clock fixture itself is really well put together. What you got is every bolt, every section is solid. So this is a beautiful piece of work. You can see that I've removed the pendulum. So this video is about not just the maintenance of this clock, it's just basically how this is put together. So when you receive it, what will happen is the pendulum will be removed. So here's the pendulum, and what you do is you basically hook it on to the section of the clock here, so you can see there. And the way that it works is, let's first of all listen to the clock. So I'm just going to lock it, turn it around. So the way the actual clock is put together is you've got a section on the front, so it strikes every 30 minutes, so it's on the half hour it's once, and then on the hour it's every hour. So this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just basically geared up, well calibrated and cleaned up, and that's basically on the half hour. And as you can see, it's just basically there. The key is part of the sail, so what you've got is the keys there. So this is correctly wound, so it's just as wound as far as it will go, and that's enough. And then what you've got is how to actually calibrate the clock. This is really important because when you actually receive the clock itself, it's going to be broken down into two parts. So what you've got is you receive the clock, and you can see here there's a way of calibrating it, speeding up the clock, slowing it down, because obviously in the winter metal contracts, so you have to loosen it just a little bit so that it sort of slows down a little bit, because if it contracts it's just going to go fast. So that's the whole premise behind that mechanism. If it's on a warm climate, what happens is the metal expands and you have to tighten it just a little bit at a time to make sure that it catches up with the time. But at the moment, as you can see, it's pretty much ticking away quite nicely. So let's listen to that for a second. And the reason why I'm focusing on this section is because this section is the bit that allows you to actually calibrate this clock to any surface. So when you actually receive this clock, what happens is you'll place it down on a mantelpiece and you'll need to adjust it for whatever surface you put it on. At the moment, this table here, and the way that that's ticking, that's perfectly fine. So I'll explain. What happens is you receive it and you put it down on another surface. That surface is not going to be the same level as this table. So let's just see what happens. So as you can see down here at the bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the clock. So I'm going to put the key just underneath it and wait for the... So I'm going to tip it that much. You can see that's quite a lot, and this pendulum has stopped. And then what I'll do is I'll take it away, and the pendulum goes. And the reason why is because your surface might be different from mine, so this video is just basically explaining to you how to calibrate this. So what you do is you basically push this pendulum, or this section here at the back, which is the stem at the back, you just push it towards that way, so ever so slightly. So that's a little bit off, I can tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, and I'll explain the reason why I mean by that, is I'm just going to push it just a little bit further. So as you can listen, and you listen, it's just a little bit, it's not tick-tocking, it's ticking more than tocking, so let's listen. Which means it will actually stop. So you can see it's come to a stop. You'll see it come to a stop in a second. And what I'm going to do is push it just a bit further to the right, just so that, or to the left just ever so slightly. So the idea behind it is that how to calibrate it is quite important for this video. So what I'm doing now is adjusting it for the tilt of this surface. Now, if you listen to it, it's slightly off, I can tell. So it is basically calibrated for the purpose of the key sitting on it. So what happens is that this particular pendulum may need to be adjusted a little bit further for the tilt of this table. So you can see here, down here, what you've got. I'm going to just tilt it back ever so slightly. Nope. So this seems about right, because it's basically tilted for this particular table. So if I take the key away that's holding it, and then I bring it down, what will happen is obviously it's going to stop. So then it's just a matter of actually pushing it to the left or the right, depending on what your surface is like. So that's about right. So you can see that the key's been removed, this pendulum has just been adjusted. So I'm just going to wait for it to sort of relax for a bit. And that's how you make an adjustment, is that basically every single surface has to be calibrated for this particular clock. So when you receive it, what will happen is you'll get this pendulum, you'll hook it onto there, you'll put it down on the surface that you want it on, reach to the back and just make sure you calibrate it first, and then make sure you're happy with it. And then after you calibrate it for that surface becomes the permanent spot. You can pick it up, adjust the clock, put it back, and then never touch the actual stem, and then immediately you can just basically play about with it. And that's how it works. So that's ticking away quite nicely, so I'm going to let that go. So yeah, so this is basically as close to calibration as you can get. The important thing is that the actual clock is working perfectly fine, and perfect, and that's that.